Thank you, Dr. Shokin. I've had the pleasure of teaching and getting to know Josh over the past few years. I've seen him mature not only as a student, but also as a designer. So today, we're very excited that Josh can share with you one of our signature projects in his Honors Advanced Architectural Design class. So Josh, can you please tell us about your process here?
Initially, we were tasked with finding 10 cultural icons that were significant to us. Some icons I chose were the UCLA logo because I come from a Bruins family. I chose the Magen David, the Star of David, because of my Jewish identity. And I also chose the Kobe Bryant logo because of my love for basketball. I eventually decided to follow through and base my project on the Kobe Bryant logo because as a child, I loved Kobe Bryant and I loved his passion for the sport. Kobe Bryant dedicated most of his life to basketball, and I know he was one of the best players, and I want to strive to be like him, and I wanted to take full advantage of what Milken has to offer in the ADI program.
Wonderful, Josh. One of the reasons I love teaching this project is because I get to know my students like Josh personally. Josh said that he is from a Bruins family, and I always give him a hard time because as a fellow Trojan, I tell him that USC is the better school. Fight on. And also, I learned about Josh's love for basketball and about Kobe Bryant being his idol. So what's great about this project is they can also incorporate their values, their inclinations into architecture. In class, we always talk about architecture is a series of building blocks that create our built environment. So Josh, how did you use your Kobe Bryant logo to create your final project?
So this is the Kobe Bryant logo, and I noticed that in the logo, there are lines right in the middle. And what I did was I cut it slightly, which is called scoring. So I scored the logo, and I turned the two-dimensional form into a three-dimensional form with a slight bend after cutting it. After I figured out what my triangular building block would be, I looked at different design strategies. I was thinking, should my pavilion be a small pavilion or a larger one? What material should I use? Rigid like wood? Flexible like foam sheets? And I eventually settled with 3-ply bristle paper. This would allow the rigidity, it would be laser cut, and it'd give the rigidity to support the large-scale pavilion, and it'd also have the flexibility to allow the tolerances within the pavilion.
Josh, I loved how you used the iterative design process to experiment with different materials. You talked about scale and proportion, and also different fabrication techniques from laser cutting to 3D printing. And I think what's really valuable with the Milken education here is that we have such valuable resources, such as the Garen, which allows Josh to explore endless possibilities in design. So Josh, can you please continue on how you made your building block into the aggregated form that we have here today?
So I took the one piece I had, and I aggregated it in different ways. I tried to create different forms, different shapes, and these shapes would be placed around the pavilion to create a symmetrical pattern. And as I was building this pavilion, I noticed that it kind of represented a basketball net. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I made this and shaped it as an inverted basketball net? Once I came up with the final design, I'm like, maybe I can do a more densely populated area at the bottom for privacy, and as you get higher up, allow holes on the top to allow sunlight into the pavilion.
Very impressive, Josh. So as you can see, Josh not only learned about creativity, but also the practical skills of architecture. Josh is well-versed in orthographic drawings. He has learned how to model digitally within a 3D environment in digital programs. And also, he is proficient in Illustrator and Photoshop. So through the progression of the ADA program, this prepares students like Josh to excel in higher education. So recently, Josh, over the summer, partook in a 4-week intensive course at USC. He told me that through his education in Milken, he was able to succeed easily within the 4-week program. Josh, can you tell us more about how the ADA program helped you at USC?
Throughout the Milken Architecture program, we were tasked with challenging projects like this pavilion, but we started off easier with a Sukkah project. This project gave me some basic skills that I needed to learn. I was taught by Mr. Kang how to use Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator, and I was also taught how to use Rhinoceros, which is a 3D modeling software. Without Mr. King's help, I would have never been able to understand any of the softwares, including all the Adobe softwares. And I know for a fact that if I did not have the help from the ADI program and Mr. King, I would have had a challenging 4 weeks at USC.
Thank you very much, Josh. I'm so proud of Josh, what he accomplished. He was the prime example of the progression to the ADA program from 9th grade design arts to a senior being in honors advanced design arts. And also, since we're all proud members of the Jewish community, I integrate Jewish values, traditions, and culture into the projects. So Josh spoke about designing a sukkah. So every year during Sukkot, during my Intro to Architecture class, I task students with looking at sukkahs from a different perspective, from an architectural design perspective, while still adhering to Jewish values. Furthermore, Josh is currently working on a project where we talk about sustainability, ecology, and the disparity of trees within urban environments. And we introduced that last week as we're discussing and celebrating Tu Shvat. So, in aligning with our ADI program values to expand and extend, I'm happy to announce with our audience here, for the first time at Milken, next academic year, we'll be offering AP, 3D design, emphasis in architecture. And also, keeping in line with the goals to make sure our students like Josh are college ready, I'm working with USC professors to create a one-week seminar here at Milken campus where we'll design at a collegiate level an actual built project that we'll be showcasing at this year's Milken Art Show at the end of May. So we hope that all of you can attend and see the amazing work that Josh and the other students at Milken have to showcase. Thank you so much, Josh, for presenting. Thank you, all of you, for listening. And back to you, Dr. Shulkin.